Welcome. In this video, I'll be sharing a couple of my own stories about the scars I received while studying for the LSAT. Kind of like this one. And that actually reminds me that it's been 48 hours, so it's time for me to take off this butterfly bandage. I think I just lost some eyebrow hair. Welcome to Law Venture, a channel devoted to lawyers and future lawyers. Now this video exists because 48 hours ago, I'm sorry this isn't an amazing story, it's a pretty boring story. I was playing basketball in an adult men's league, caught an elbow, ended up getting a little gash up here. And I was thinking today, I want to make an LSAT video, what should I do? And I thought, okay, I haven't really, given you my personal experience yet, and I have a scar, let's just blend these two topics together. Now, if you can come up with a better story about how this happened, let me know. At the end of this video, I may come up with potential stories and I'll let y'all all choose which one's the best one. But let's go ahead and dive in to story number 1 with the LSAT. I need to take you back to the summer going into my senior year of college. I made the decision, okay, I'm gonna take the LSAT, I'm gonna go to law school, I'm gonna become a lawyer. Simple enough. So I buy a book. The book is probably about yay big. I don't know if people still say yay, but yay big. And I figure, okay, if I go through this entire massive book that looks like a phone book, I should be prepared for the LSAT, so let's do it. Cocky me thought if I just self-study through this book, I'll be fine. Well, come game day, and I'm taking the LSAT, I walk away from it thinking, it wasn't that bad. Then I get the results. It was that bad. My results were terrible. I bombed it. It was demoralizing and my ego took a big hit. Basically, I felt like I wasted all this time in my summer studying for an exam and I had no results from that. The hardest part was the ego because I had told my friends like, hey, sorry, can't go out. Hey, sorry, can't do this, can't do that. I need to study for this LSAT. And you have to come back and say, by the way, all that time and energy I spent doing it was for naught because the score was awful and I'm not gonna get into law school and this is a terrible decision and I regret everything. I wasn't that dramatic, but in your mind, it goes to a worst case scenario whenever you get that score. And I really started reconsidering whether or not, hey, is this lawyer thing really for me? And then you get past that process and you typically realize that, okay, I need to do this. And that's what I thought. I thought, okay, I need to do this, but I need to do it right. I'm gonna learn from my mistakes. So one thing I didn't factor in was physical fatigue and mental fatigue on game day. And what I mean by that is you show up in the morning and you start reading for the first hour and you're like, okay, that's going pretty well. You're answering the questions. But in the second hour, your eyes start getting a little fuzzy and you realize your eyes are getting tired, your eyes are fatigued. They've been looking at this black and white paper for an extended period and you're really looking at it because you want to make sure you get all the questions right. Then the mental fatigue starts coming in and you start realizing, I just read like 3 paragraphs and I have no idea what I just read because my inner monologue is going on and I'm like, okay, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Wait, no, focus on what you're reading. Wait, no, you're burning time. Go ahead and hop back into the beginning. Wait, no, you're slowing yourself down. And then you start going down this path of just talking to yourself and trying to strategize while you're not reading. And at some point it gets pretty stressful while you're in the testing environment if you haven't prepared for that testing environment. So what I realized what I did incorrectly was I didn't simulate test day. I didn't realize that after a certain period of time of just intense reading and thinking critically that you really get mentally fatigued. As the LSAT progressed, my score got lower and I started missing more and more and it just wasn't good. I didn't prep for that. What I ended up doing over the summer and the months leading up to the LSAT was basically studying at the most convenient times. Maybe I'd sleep in a little bit. I'd wake up, I'd be fresh, be ready to go. And then I start, the LSAT studying guide and then I work through it. But if I ever got tired, then I would just take a break and then come back and then just do the same rinse and repeat type of process. But on game day, you can't really stop. You can't really go and just wind down for a second and then hop back in. And at no point in time during my studying process did I simulate that type of fatigue. So I wasn't prepared for that at all. I also realized that I didn't do a very good job at comprehending what questions I would miss whenever I was prepping, and maybe even more importantly, the questions I would get right. Because there were times when I was studying that I would guess on what the answer was, then that ended up being right. The problem is, that was pure luck, I just guessed. And I wouldn't go back and figure out, oh, no, this is right because of, this, and this. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get that right in the future. Brief pause, is C still the go-to when it comes to exams? That was always my automated, if I didn't know if it was A, B, C, or D, then I went with C. And if there was a situation where I saw C was the wrong answer, then it was just like, okay, I don't know. This is just a shot in the dark. But anyways, okay, back to the story. So to fix this, what I ended up doing was finding a tutor who had basically a perfect score on the LSAT in the year he took it. I think he only missed one question actually, which is ridiculously good. And I paid him a lot of money, and I saw that as an investment, because the big picture ended up being, if I can do well in this LSAT, then I can apply to more competitive law schools or better law schools. And if I have a competitive score, I can hopefully get some money out of this, right? I can maybe get some scholarship money. I could use the scholarship tactic that I said in another video in order to increase my scholarship money. And if that's the case, if I can get scholarship money or increase my scholarship money, then the tutoring is gonna pay for itself. So I've decided to swallow my pride, and 5 days a week I was going and meeting this tutor, and the other 2 days a week I was doing a full-on practice exam for a Saturday, I think, and then on Sunday I was going through that entire test and figuring out what I did wrong. And then any questions I had, Monday through Friday, I would go back to the tutor and we would just dive into it. It was exhausting. I remember I was having to do my full fall workload, and then in between those times I would have to go to tutoring, and then on Saturday and Sunday I had to be like, stop talking to me, people, and close the doors, close the blinds, unplug the internet, and just go back into the Stone Age and just sit down and take these exams and simulate the environment. So I ended up hiring a tutor, and that's my biggest recommendation, is hire someone who has gone through it. And some tutors, they live and breathe the LSAT. They know the ins and the outs, and they'll know it better than maybe you'll ever know it. So make your life easier by hiring someone who's an expert on it, and I can tell you the money will be worth the investment, hands down. So the second LSAT scar that I have is a little bit more of an embarrassing story. Not super proud of it. I don't know how I would be proud of it at all, actually. I was studying, it was early in the morning, and while I was filling out the answers, I decided to wipe the sleep out of my eyes. Immediate pain, immediate. Can't really see what I'm doing out of my right eye. It's kind of like foggy, but the worst part was the blinking. It hurt every single time. I go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, don't see anything there. There's no eyelash, it's just like stabbing me in the eye, but something's stabbing me in the eye, it feels like. So go to the doctor that day. I think it was probably a Sunday, because that's the only time anyone ever gets hurt or sick, whenever a doctor's not available. But find a doctor, have to walk there, and I'm walking basically with one eye that's just like going crazy, can't study. End up finding out that I scratched my cornea while studying for the LSAT. Yeah, and the worst part about it was I had to wear an eye patch for an extended period of time, because apparently your cornea can't heal unless it's completely dark. And it's really hard to study for the LSAT with one eye. It's even harder to cross the street on your walk back, having to like turn to make sure no car is coming. It wasn't a good look. And so if you picture a pirate studying for the LSAT, that was basically what I was doing. It wasn't good. Yeah, that's a story that if you feel bad and it's not going well with your LSAT prep, just know that at least you haven't scratched your cornea doing it. And if you have, let me know, because I would need that emotional support. If you've done something more embarrassing, also leave that in the comments. And be sure to subscribe. That way I can keep giving you embarrassing stories and hopefully keep giving you some helpful advice. If you find this helpful in any way, just let me know. If you have any questions, Also let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to try and answer them. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. I'll go ahead and see you in the next video. Wait, actually, before I go, I need some input on a better story than the actual reality of the fact that I got this from playing basketball. So I've been workshopping a couple stories. Here they are. Oh, this? Yeah, ended up getting in a fight with a biker guy. It was a huge guy, but I won. But as I was walking out, I ended up slipping on some beer and hit my head on a table. I think the table was the real winner that night. This is what happens when you say no to Girl Scouts selling cookies. Oh, this thing? Yeah, I got it in the war. No, I didn't serve. I went to Avengers Infinity War, and as I was seated, some guy was squeezing through, and his elbow hit me and knocked my popcorn over. Lost $15 worth of popcorn. It was a small.